This is the Sports Central Podcast.
Hey everybody, welcome into a special Pro Football Hall of Fame edition of the Sports Central Podcast. Chris Hayre here with you this week. Coming up, the best of our trip to Canton for the enshrinement of Chargers tight end Antonio Gates. You'll hear from Chargers owner Dean Spanos a little bit later in the podcast, along with a trio of legendary quarterbacks. Hall of Famer Dan Fouts and soon-to-be Gold Jacket Drew Brees are on deck. But first, the man who threw 89 of Gates' 116 touchdowns, Philip Rivers. Well, couldn't be more pleased to be joined by Philip Rivers. Philip, it's so good to see you, man. I want to ask you this. I asked Nick Hardwick and LT this last night. What's going through your head right now as we wait on Antonio Gates here?
A lot of different emotions, really. One is it just, dang, where did the time go? You know, it just all went too fast. It kind of seems like such a blur. But I think really just thankful that I was able to be Antonio's teammate and be a part of a lot of those passes. You know, that he was on the other end of all those receptions and touchdowns, and that we're all here as teammates and coaches able to celebrate him today is awesome.
You wrote a piece in the LA Times in conjunction with Sam Farmer, and you mentioned something called the Gates Rule. What's the Gates Rule?
The Gates Rule was it kind of overrode, it superseded the coverage or the regular read progression as we had in the quarterback room. So we had that Gates Rule was he was one-on-one, or if he had you had that something favorable for him, it superseded everything else, and that means that rule got applied quite a bit because
yes.
It took quite a bit to take him away.
3 pivot, right? What's 3 pivot?
Yeah, that pivot 3, you start kind of like on the shallow and then come out of it. And he had so many different subtleties and variations of such a simple route that it made it tough to handle. And between that pivot 3, a deep 2, a 7 route, and a nod 9, I mean, I think he could probably just say those are his only 4 clubs in his bag. And I think he would have the exact same numbers with just those 4 routes.
He was essentially playing basketball out there, and that's what's so remarkable about this career is not one offensive snap in college playing football. When did you know that he just had it? Right away?
I don't know. Well, I knew he had a chance to be really good right away. But I think it was his, he had what you need, right? There's a confidence, not an arrogance, but there was a confidence about him that he had that, hey, I'm the real deal. But he had enough humility to say, I need to learn as much as I can learn about this game. I don't have it figured out. You know, we always say the 3 most dangerous words are, I got it.
Sure,
you know,
exactly.
He didn't feel like he had it. And so I think the combination of his basketball, first of all, he was a really, really good basketball player, but he didn't just play basketball. He was a legit basketball player.
He was a couple inches from maybe being an NBA player.
There's no
maybe
doubt.
A Hall of Famer.
Yeah, there's no doubt. There's no doubt. So he was a legit basketball player. Throw that in with his eagerness and humility to want to learn more and more football, and then it's just God-given talent. You mix those 3, and you get Hall of Famer, and in my opinion, the best of all time.
Probably not a fair question, but give me your favorite on-field and off-field moment with Gates.
Oh gosh, it's tough. One of my this isn't a moment; these are moments. But I loved if he hadn't gotten the ball yet in the game, or we were struggling a little bit on offense. We would break the huddle after I've called a play, and he would either tap me or make sure I see him, and very subtly, not pitching a fit, say, "Come on now." And it was like, all right,
okay, I gotta get to him.
That was him saying, "Throw me the football," you know. So I grew to appreciate that because it was kind of like, yeah, heck yeah, what am I doing? I got to get him the ball. I got to be a little more intentional about getting him the ball, like we talked about with the Gates Rule. And then off the field, I remember playing a game of horse at his house, and we were playing horse, and I just had to put in the rule as we got started, no dunking. Because I didn't want him to start, I could shoot with him, but once he started jumping, I was out.
We also need you on the football field too, Antonio.
Yeah. But games of ping pong, playing dominoes, sitting in the sauna, and him saying, "Well, I'm not leaving until everybody's out," because he wanted to win. He's just so dang competitive. But it was a lot of great memories. Memories.
What do you think his legacy is going to be? His lasting legacy in the league?
Well, I think it's going to. I think the timing of he changed the position. I think, the position has been forever changed. And you look now at there's a lot of guys that play his style, and teams are trying to find the Antonio Gates. They're not easy. They're not a dime a dozen. But I think he'll leave that legacy of really changing that tight end position. And then I think again some of those routes that we talked about earlier, there was a subtleness to it, and he had such a unique ability of separating and attacking leverage that was just ahead of his time. And I think they'll stand the test of time. I don't think they'll ever get old. I don't think it'll ever look old timey.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it was that good.
Two more for you, and this pertains to you because I talked to Nick this week, and he got to go down there and surprise you. I can't tell you, Philip, over the last couple of weeks, just the fans and just how excited they were to see that video, that 5-minute video that the Chargers put out. What have the last 2 weeks meant to you now that you officially retired the Charger?
Yeah, it was that day was special. Certainly, thank Jen and all those behind that, and those linemen showing up there. Had no idea.
You had no clue, huh?
None. My wife didn't know. None of us knew. No clue. And the question was teed up. I will say that the question was teed up, knowing that they were out there. I didn't. Talk about some of your linemen, and it just works out. Those are the ones I named, and they walked in the door. And it was unbelievable. Unbelievable. So we had a good time that night, telling stories and laughing and crying and all in between. But it was a special day, and certainly thankful for the Spanos family, as I said in that video. But it was just you wanted to kind of close it off right. Again, the timing of it, I don't know. What do you mean? I've been out for going on this my 5th year, but it was just wanting it to be known and done. Retiring a Charger after being there 16 years, and so thankful to them to make it all work out.
Finally, St. Michael, you guys won your first playoff game in school history last year. Gunner's playing fantastic. What's it like being a coach and coaching Gunner? And how is he different in the same with you?
Yeah, it's a blast. Yeah, we won hosted our first playoff game, won our first playoff game, ended up winning 2 more and making it to the semifinals. It was a fun year. Looking forward to this year. Having a blast coaching Gunner. He's a lot like me in terms of the way he's wired and the way he thinks and the way he throws it, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
A little calmer than I was, so I think that'll serve him well.
Is that the biggest difference?
I think that's the biggest. He's got that fire, but it's he's just a little more steady emotionally, and I think that'll a little more like his mom, which will serve him well. But it's been a blast. I tell you what, being a coach and being in a locker room and having a team has helped me not miss it as much until our season's over. So if you make it to the state championship in Alabama, you're done in December, the first week of December. Yeah. And so then it's like, oh boy, football's over too soon. So exactly. December and January is when I really miss it. But certainly always pulling for the Chargers and love keeping up with them.
Philip, thank you so much. Next time we're in Canton, we hope it's with you.
Appreciate it.
Coming up, another of Gates' quarterbacks, all but a lock for enshrinement in 2026, Drew Brees. Well, Drew, what does it mean to you to see Antonio Gates get that gold jacket, man?
Nobody more deserving. You look at his career, the numbers speak for themselves, obviously, but I think what we appreciate, and look behind me here, and this is like a reunion, for the, all the years that he played, but, the time that I spent with him, I'm sitting here looking at Philip. I know Philip feels the same way I do about him. And that is there was no better teammate, no better human. The journey that he traveled, just listening to his speech today, just talking about, how he arrived to this place and this time, and all the people that had a chance to be a part of that with him. I just feel blessed to have been a small piece of that.
We sat down with him on Thursday, and he said he pulled something from each of you quarterbacks, and just your preparation that early in his career. When did you know that he kind of had it?
Like, I actually have an image in my mind of him, his rookie year in 2003, when he was really, he was brought in obviously as an undrafted free agent. He had been a basketball player, hadn't taken a snap of college football. And just for him to put his hand in the ground for the first time and block, I remember Tim Brewster, the tight ends coach, who literally jumped up on the table for him with the rest of the scouts, we have to bring this guy in. Just give me a few years with him, let me develop him. I'll never forget him putting his hand in the ground for the first time and me looking at him saying, man, there's something really athletic about him, but he's just so raw, Yeah. And to play the tight end position, it's not just running around catching balls. There's so much that you're asked to do. In fact, I think tight end is one of the most difficult positions to play because you're asked to do everything. You have to block, you have to run routes, you have to make big-time catches, in tight windows, while you're getting hit. You got to be durable, like all those things. And so, and just the mental side of the game, because you have to really understand both the run and the pass game. You looked at him initially and it's like, man, this guy's going to be a big project. And yet within like 6 months, midway through that 03 season, some injuries happen, all of a sudden he's in the game, and you just began to see the light bulb come on. And it was like, I think we may have something pretty special here.
Give me your favorite Gates story, either on or off the field.
Oh, man. Well, Gates really revolutionized the tight end position from the perspective that we thought that we could put in a package where we would literally put him as the single receiver into the boundary, and a corner would cover him or come to guard him, and we felt like he could win. And so we put in this package, and one of the first times we ever ran it, it was one of those things where it's like, hey, let's just throw him a slant just to see if he can win on that. But it was one of these looks where, for whatever reason, somehow he gets a go route, and he runs right by this corner from Kansas City, who was one of the better quarterbacks in the league. I think it was Pat Surtain. And all of a sudden, like, he's catching this high back shoulder for a touchdown, and it was like all of a sudden you're like, we have not only this guy who obviously his position says tight end in the roster, but like he's sitting here dominating some of the best corners in the league. Like, we're going to be able to completely transform this offense with this guy.
Yeah. Unbelievable. Final thing for you, just the legacy of the quarterback position with the Chargers. I just saw a picture of you and Phillip and Fouts, and now Justin Herbert's in tow. Just looking ahead to this 2025 Chargers team, your thoughts on Justin? I've seen you at practices over the years, seeing Justin. Where do you think that this team led by Jim Harbaugh can go?
Look, I've always respected Jim Harbaugh, and I think his attention to detail and just like the culture that he creates with the teams that he coaches. There's definitely an element of toughness. There's definitely an old school mentality, like, hey, we're going to play great defense, we're going to run the football. Those have been hallmarks of all of his teams, and they've all won, and they've all, been playoff caliber, championship caliber teams. So you feel like it's going that direction, right? I think Herbert is certainly one of the most talented guys in the league when it comes to his ability to push the ball down the field, his ability to stand in the pocket and deliver it accurately. In fact, I don't know if I've ever seen a guy throw a ball like him before.
He's different.
With just, his level of strength. And so I think, like, the sky's the limit as far as kind of where that team can go. Obviously, they're in a tough division.
Hall of Fame coaches up and down.
That's exactly right. But I think they're building something. Yeah.
Drew, enjoy your evening. Thanks so much for your time.
You got it. Thank you.
Up next, Hall of Famer Dan Fouts, class of 1993. All right, here with the Hall of Famer Dan Fouts. And Dan, I know every Hall of Fame weekend is special, but when another fellow Charger gets in, has to add a little bit more.
It really does. It just it builds a fraternity, and that's what the Hall of Fame is really all about, is the brotherhood that's established with Hall of Famers that you feared as a player, and now they're your best friend. But to have a guy like Antonio, who's so deserving to join LT's class, it's awesome.
How does it change when you put that gold jacket on? How does life change?
Well, it changes in a lot of ways, and the biggest thing is that the recognition, obviously, but also to be in this so exclusive club. There's 382 Hall of Famers, and it's just very, very humbling to be a part of it all.
You know better than anybody what a good tight end means, a Hall of Fame tight end means to a quarterback. From your vantage point, what made Antonio so special in the games that you called?
Well, first of all, he's very smart, and he knows how to position his body to get open, and he catches the ball away from his body with great hands. And his rapport with Phillip was second to none. And when you got a big guy like that, for a quarterback, your catch radius is so much bigger. So you can put a ball out to where nobody else can catch it for your guy. And that's what Antonio can do.
Final thing for you, we're going to see you throughout the preseason. These 2025 Chargers look pretty good on Thursday night. What are you expecting out of Justin Herbert and company?
Well, I think it could be the year. I mean, they've got the pieces together. They've got another year of experience. They made the playoffs last year, 11 games. Nobody expected them to do that. I expect them to build upon that and have a great year.
Dan, thank you so much for stopping.
Always.
Still ahead, Chargers owner and chairman of the board, Dean Spanos. Well, Dean, congratulations on just a wonderful weekend for the Chargers overall. What are the emotions now that you've heard Antonio's speech?
Well, it was one of the greatest speeches I've ever heard. And, you know, Antonio was somewhat shy and emotional. I know he was very nervous before the speech, but I thought he just nailed it. It was right on, from the heart, and genuine in every sense of the way.
He said he wasn't going to cry, but that's an impossible task when you're going into uncharted waters. Just take me back to the beginning. When you first met Antonio, did you have any idea what this was going to become?
Absolutely not. I don't think anybody did. And everybody knows sort of the story that one of our scouts or coaches at the time talked to a coach at Kent State and went back and told A.J. Smith and some of the scouts back there, hey, I got this guy out here, we should, this player, potential player, he's a basketball player, never played any college football, but interesting guy, we should look at him. And, everybody's going, we're going to bring a player in here, a player that's never taken a snap in the in college football before. And he did. And when you think about it, how many players are drafted that come in and, they're going to probably make the team. They're already kind of, I don't want to say teed up to make it, but, they got a real head start. This guy came in with nothing, no experience, nothing, but a lot of talent, athleticism and smarts, and made the team. And here he is in the Hall of Fame today.
Talking to him before the speech, one of the things that just struck me was he said, even my 6th and 7th year, being an All-Pro and a Pro Bowl, I still felt like I had something to prove. And I think it just goes back to the origin story of playing football in 2003 for the first time since high school. We'll never see a story like that again. To be his presenter, what did that mean to you?
Oh, it was so special. It's the first time I've had the opportunity to do it, and it was, it's never something I will never forget, watching him up there, seeing all the other players. They're the best of the best in the history of the game. It's a very, very emotional time for me, but more for obviously Antonio. But to see these guys and him there with all of them was very special.
You've got to know him so well. And I've asked so many of his former teammates this. I know it's almost an impossible question, but what's your most memorable moment with Antonio, either on or off the field, or both?
Well, we were talking about it, so it's a little, I knew you were going to ask me that question. So we were going back saying, there's so many of them because he has so many great records. But I think the one we were talking about, so I won't take all this credit, but I do remember it was a Cleveland game, actually, and I think it was in 2004. And I believe it was the second to last game of the year. He caught a pass, took it to the house, and that was the difference in us going to the playoffs that year and not. And the actual pass came from Drew Brees that year.
Wow.
Yeah.
There's so many of these Hall of Famers that are Chargers, and obviously they're exceptional players, but they're exceptional people. That moment last night to see LT put the gold jacket on Antonio. You have Phillip in the crowd today, and I think there were so many highlights during the speech, but when he stopped short and he said Phillip's name, and you show Phillip on the screen, it's got to bring back so many memories from you. 89 touchdowns between those two.
It's unbelievable when you think about it. But those three guys you just mentioned, those three great players, they all played together for a long time. You don't see that very often. Yeah. And it was a very special moment for, I know, all three of them.
What do you think Antonio Gates' lasting legacy is?
His last commitment. There's somebody who came with nothing and was committed to do it. And even when he started doing, as you said, he was successful, it wasn't enough. He's a very driven individual, very committed and dedicated to what he does.
Dean, on Thursday, I couldn't help but notice just even a lot of the young guys on this 2025 Chargers team, they knew that this was important. And I think that comes from Jim Harbaugh, just stressing the importance of this weekend to the organization. And we saw it right from the beginning. If we could just pivot and move forward to 2025, your thoughts on this current Chargers team with Jim Harbaugh in his second year?
Well, it's exciting. As you know, Jim came last year, and we made the playoffs last year, albeit we weren't successful in the Houston game. But that even makes him want to come back and the rest of the team come back. and with more of a commitment to do better this year. But I'm excited for this year. I do believe we're a better team this year. Our players are excited. They got some experience with the coaches now. And, you know, it kind of settles in a little bit, and they getting to know each other. I'm talking about the coaching staff, the players, everything, because that's a hard, you know, it's a hard thing to do, and it's the first year. And, and we did pretty good. And you know, as committed as Jim is, and you know Jim, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean, he's just a special guy, and he brings a certain charm, a certain electricity to our team that's unbelievable.
It's just a proven winner everywhere he's going. To win 11 games in year one, and to really, the way Joe Ortiz has attacked the draft, so many impact players, it seems like even the back half of the roster is even stronger than last year with the depth that they have.
Yeah, you know, you saw it the other night, which is really, really encouraging. Trey Lance played incredible. I mean, looked like a starting quarterback. He could go in there right now and play if he had to play. That was exciting in itself. But some of the young kids that went out there and played, I mean, it was really, really kind of exciting. Now it's preseason. It's the first game, first preseason game. Got a long ways to go. But, you know, that's what you like to see. I know Jim, even though it's preseason game, he wants to win those games. He wants to win them like that. You know,
Dean, the one thing I've noticed, especially with the fan base, is yes, it's that first preseason game and it doesn't mean too much, but fans are into it. And I saw so many fans there today from San Diego and Los Angeles, just to have that support for Antonio and the organization. What does that mean to you?
Oh, it really means a lot. I mean, you know, a lot of years in San Diego with Antonio, obviously, and you know, they're very loyal fans. They don't forget those great players and the team of that era, and a lot goes out to them for being there to support him.
Last thing for you, I go back to the quarterback position. Jim played here for the Chargers. We mentioned Phillip, we mentioned Drew, you know, Justin coming into year 6. It's got to be pretty cool for you to sit back and just look at the history of the quarterback position and go back to Dan Fouts.
Yeah, we've been very fortunate to have a run like that, and Justin needs to keep it going, and he will. I mean, he's, in my opinion, he's got great upside. I know Jim's got you've heard Jim talk about him a lot.
Oh, yeah.
And so, you know, looking forward to another 15, 16-year career like Phillip had would be incredible.
Well, we're going to blink, and we're going to be in Brazil.
Okay.
Chargers taking on the Chiefs. We can't thank you enough for your time.
Thank you,
Look
Chris.
forward. Good luck this season.
All right. Thank you.
Take care.
Okay.
All right, that's going to do it for us. My thanks to Dean Spanos, Phillip Rivers, Drew Brees, and Dan Fouts for joining us. And thanks to you all for listening. Be sure to download and subscribe to the Sports Central podcast wherever you get your podcasts. We'll be back next week with a brand new episode. Until next time, I'm Chris Hayre.